Off the first race at Hastings today is a maiden special weight for 3-year-old fillies. Mike, I went with the 1 here, Keys Adorable. She's been running... The 4, I'm sorry.
Well, that's all right.
The 4-horse Keys Adorable. She's been running in Golden Gate. Tim McCann had her down there, was running for 32,000. That's pretty tough racing down there. She got beat 3 lengths and 3.5 lengths. She looks fit and ready to go. That's the one I'm going to.
Yeah.
Probably not going to be a lot of a price, but looks like the best horse. The other one I looked at was Long Lori, the 1 horse, out of the Mel Snow Barn. Been working right along, has a great Tomlinson number for this distance. And third spot I took Greg Tracy, who had a nice win last week with Claire's Misey. Took his horse, Sweet Lorette, in 3rd.
Yeah, I see it the same way. I don't think we're telling the public anything that they don't already know in this one. It really does look like the favorites could dominate. Keys Adorable, pardon me, as you mentioned, winter raced, fit, ready to go. Not a lot of speed in the race. She probably might even make the lead. She will go on blinkers today, so probably look for Richard Hamill to just put her on the lead. Potential horses to jump up. I think you nailed them. The 1, Long Lori, out of the mare Suwalka, who's thrown some pretty nice horses. Nice work, Tab. Mel Snow can send out a live firster at you as well. And this isn't the toughest maiden allowance race either, so don't be surprised if Long Lori maybe upsets Keys Adorable. And I put Sweet Lorette in the money as well. I went 4, 5, and 1, but we both agree on the 4, the favorite, Keys Adorable, in the first half of the Daily Double. All right, in the second race, we do have some, once again, maidens. So this is for the boys, though. This will be colts and geldings, 3-year-olds going 6 furlongs. I went to the Barbheads barn again, Brass and Gold. I think she's got a good chance to win the early double. Brass and Gold. Yeah. I watched that race, went back on the HPI race replays, and I took a look at the race. This horse had to hook the eventual winner, who won off very nicely. Probably a stakes caliber horse out of the Frank Lucarelli barn.
Went pretty quick.
Head and head with that one. And just when you're hooked with the best horse, after 3/8 of a mile and you get put away, you often don't hang on for 2nd or 3rd. And I think that's more what resulted in what...
And her first start, too.
Yeah. The other horse was very, very live, bet off the board. Frank Alvarado was on the horse. It was a live firster, and went in 3 or 4 and change. It was pretty quick. This horse doesn't face that kind of speed in here today. I think Brass and Gold's going to be awfully tough. I put Congrats Man and Deputy's Command in behind. I mean, you can shoot holes in both of those, even though Deputy's Command did run 3rd in the Futurity. Look at a couple of his other 3rds. They were just in 4-horse fields. So, and lacking in a little speed maybe is Deputy's Command, but I put him in the 3rd spot, Congrats Man in the 2nd spot, and Brass and Gold on top. I disagree with you a little bit here. I put Congrats Man on top. I just like the 2 seconds. Greg Tracy thought enough of him to have him in the Edmonton Juvenile. He ran 2nd in there to a horse that Doug's buddy came back and won. So I have him in the top spot. 2nd spot I had Deputy's Command, and 3rd I put in Simon Templar out of Terry Clyde's barn. Again, Terry thought enough of this horse, had it in stakes last year. Now, in for a maiden race, I think could be tough. Yeah, there's a lot of them that had some experience last year, like Simon Templar, Congrats Man, and Deputy's Command. All 3 of those were in stakes races at one point, and just pretty solid horses that, obviously their connections thought enough of them to run in stakes races as maidens, but they're back in maiden races today. But Drew's going to head to the 3, Congrats Man. I'm going to try the 5-horse, Brass and Gold. And on to the 3rd race, optional 35 for 3-and-up colts and geldings. This is a pretty salty race. I went with the 6, Avulsion, out of the always powerful Troy Taylor barn. This horse had been running at Santa Anita. Now he comes up here. And as we saw last week, Mike, the horses that had been running on the winner, they really had an advantage. So I went with Avulsion. He ran great here at the beginning of last year. He's been in Santa Anita, so I think he's fresh. He ran in February, so he's had a little bit of time off. Comes back fresh. Yeah, I think he'll be really tough. The 2nd spot I put Dollar Waiting on a Dime. Fast horse out of the Greg Tracy barn. He's probably, him and Seminole Brave might be your pace scenario. And even with He Flies a Banner too, I ended up putting He Flies a Banner in 3rd because, again, he's been running. And those horses that have been running, like we saw last week, I don't think you can overstate how important that is. Yeah, I see the race a little bit different than you do. I'm worried about how the race is going to set up. I really like He Flies a Banner. I wanted to pick this horse. I'm worried that Dollar Waiting on a Dime is absolutely going to crush him on the head end and force him to go 21-4, 45 or 44 and change. And it might just be enough to soften him up too much. You might get caught in the stretch. I like the 5 Seminole Brave. He's a classy old
He is a tough old horse.
Not old, but I mean, he's a nice horse. He's the proven $35,000 horse. He's facing some horses that have yet to prove that they can run against the 3-and-ups. Some of them were 3-year-olds last year. They're freshly turned 4-year-olds. Avulsion, Dollar Waiting on a Dime, and True Grit, and Stormy Canuck. But he's the solid horse that was running against some very tough optional 35s. He runs well fresh. I give him the shot to just sit in behind the speed, let the 2 and 4 go, and run on perhaps in the stretch and win the money. So I'm going to try Seminole Brave to win it. I put your other 2, He Flies a Banner and Avulsion in behind, but I do like the 5, Seminole Brave, maybe to get the trip to win this afternoon's 3rd race. In the 4th race, we have some $5,000 claimers, non-winners of the year, going 6 furlongs. Got a field of 8 going postward. I went to the 5-horse Smarty Fawcett, another one that might get a perfect trip. I see a little bit of speed in here. Aberfeldy might go. Mad About Fuzz is very fast.
Yep.
Mucho Verde showing speed on occasion. And Papa's Flynn Angel, a newcomer here to Hastings, also has some front end speed. Look for Smarty Fawcett. He breaks well, but he's not a speed type, but he can slide right in behind the speed and get first run against any tiring pace setter. So I like Smarty Fawcett, as you mentioned earlier, another one that has some winter racing, which was a key. I think they were 80% last week. They won 80% of the races. Horses that were either training down south or running down south, which it's a huge edge. So I went Smarty Fawcett over the 4, Mad About Fuzz, and I put the 3, Aberfeldy, back in the Pat Jarvis barn in for 3rd.
I agree with you on Smarty Fawcett. You know, like we say, been running. I like the minute drill. On April 14th, last weekend, I took Tease the Tiger in 2nd. Another Greg Tracy horse.
I keep the money.
You know, all Greg's horses look really good and whatnot. I got him in 2nd, and I put Aberfeldy, a hard-knocking older guy, in 3rd.
Yeah, Tease the Tiger. I just want to briefly touch on him.
Yeah.
Sometimes you see horses that will start for $35,000. And obviously they thought enough of him because he was pretty good as a young horse.
Yeah.
They started him pretty high, and then you can't win, so you drop. You can't win. Then them 35 down to 25, down to 17.5. Those are tough transitions. Those are tough horses. Finally, he made his way to the bottom, and he was just so off form he couldn't even win there. Now he starts at the bottom, and I think he's a horse that could build back up. I wouldn't. These are the kind of horses that you can catch fresh in the year that might be able to rattle off 2 or 3 to begin the season.
On to the 5th race, non-2, 17.5 for Fillies and Mares. Yep. I went with the 1 here, Craig McPherson. Again, I mean, this is going to be the ongoing theme all day, a horse that's been running, right? Yeah. A horse that's running at Santa Anita.
Well, don't fight it. I mean, they're winning. Why do you want to?
Yeah, exactly. We're trying to pick winners here. That's the idea. Just comes off a good 2nd for a 12.5 non-2 at Santa Anita. In here, 17.5 in Vancouver. You know, looks pretty good. Right. That 47 and 4 drill. Gets last year's leading rider, Richard Hamill. Who's very deadly, 33% with Craig McPherson. So
lots of pluses.
Lots of pluses there. 2nd spot, I took Olympic Hit out of Terry Clyde's barn. Lightly raced horse, but he's done little wrong, right? Kind of slow his first time, then comes back, wins. Another dominating win after that. Obviously, I think she's got some talent. And in the 3rd spot, I put LeBronca. Kind of a wild card in here. She's been running quite high most of her career, and now I think she fits nicely into this non-2 17.5 spot. A little bit softer.
Yeah, I like your 1-horse Valentine's Wish. I didn't pick her on top, but the only reason I'm not going to pick her is just because of her running style. She does get herself a little back early in the race, and it may be difficult for her to weave her way through the field to win the money. Yeah. I'm going to try a little outsider. I don't know what kind of price she's going to be. Maybe you can get 6 or 7 to 1 on her, maybe even more. That's the 4-horse Nicotiana. Mel Snow, they do have a farm at home at their place, and they can attract.
Got a track there, yeah.
And they can train, and a lot of his horses are ready to go first time out. There's not a lot of speed in here. This horse has fired well fresh in the past. Throughout her last couple of races, she was asked to go long off a big layoff back in August, and then just seemed to get her off form. Her last 2 races weren't her normal. Weren't really showing what she is. Yeah. But she's a solid filly. She's speed. I think she can get to the top in here. I don't see a ton of speed in here. I like Nicotiana maybe to sneak away early and perhaps play catch me if you can, and maybe not get caught. I put Valentine's Wish in for 2nd, and Ready and Rouge coming in from Woodbine, heading into the John Morrison barn. Always a high percentage outfit, John Morrison. Yep. I put that one in for 3rd, but I like 4, 1, and 5 in this afternoon's 5th. Moving on to the 6th, we do have a scratch in here. We should tell you number 9, MBK, has been scratched. The only scratch on the Saturday program so far, but number 9, MBK, is out, which moves my selection in 1 peg. That's the 10, Prince Intent. I like him to go wire to wire.
He's in the 9 hole.
This horse has got pretty good speed. Put in a nice spot here, not ambitiously placed for 12.5. This horse has been running against better last year. I think this horse, his best races are when he's kind of in the 2 or 3 path. He seems most comfortable being on the outside, and you certainly get that.
He's going to get
with
that
the
today,
outside
yeah.
post. I think he gets into his comfort zone, and I think he wins the money. I put the 3, the classy Arc Hill. How can you fault him? He's 8 for 50 in lifetime at Hastings. What a cool dude
He is a nice horse.
He's been working well for Craig McPherson. He was down in Phoenix training, so he's had an extensive prep into his 2012 debut. So I put him in for second. And I put the 6, He's Victor. Brian O'Connell got this horse going very good at the end of the year. Seems to be going well this spring. Chad knows, or actually George Espatia won on him final start, and he's back aboard. So I went 10, 3, and 6. Kick off the lead, pick 3.
Right on board with you here, Mike. I really like Prince Intent in this spot for 12.5. Again, he'd been running around at Del Mar, then at Santa Anita. Got the, that was October, so he hasn't been running right through. But I just think he's the class of the race. I think he's too much for here. I do have Arc Hill in second. Hard knocking older horse. He knows how to win. He knows how to find the winner's circle. Right. Tough horse. And I had MBK in the 3rd spot, so I had to adjust.
You have to scratch that one.
I had to scratch that one. MBK is out. I went with Cluke and Boss of the Terry Clyde barn. He was really good at the beginning of the season last year. He had those 2 seconds in a win right off the bat. He runs good fresh. So, yeah, I got Cluke and Boss. I got 10, 3, 7.
Yeah, it looks like a 10-3 exactor. Might not pay a pile of money, but it's very likely to come in.
As long as you cash.
Maybe box 3 and 10 in this afternoon 6th.
On to the 7th race, optional 50 for 3-year-old colts and geldings. Nice little race here. I went against what we've been talking about. The Gov obviously is a horse that might have the advantage, been running, but I really like Sir Hayden.
Yeah, a little classy, well-bred, song and a prayer.
Exactly.
Don't see too many song and a prayers here in these parts, but
exactly.
owner Steve McDonald's purchased them down in Kentucky, or actually bred them, and
bred himself in Kentucky, yeah. That first race, he didn't disgrace himself. He got beat by Claire's Misey, who came, we saw last week. Is a really nice horse.
She's a pretty nice resume.
And Sunnyside Gal comes back, breaks his maiden over Unquiet, who's in here as well. So I got Sir Hayden on top. Second, I went with the Gov. Again, horse has been running, made his first starts. Started in Phoenix this winter. Broke his maiden last out. Good buyer for that one, 67 buyer. So I think he's, I kind of see between those two. Yeah. And third spot, I've got Sweet Gill at the Time, another one out of the Greg Tracy bar. For some reason, I'm picking Greg Tracy second in every race here.
Yeah, good chance. I mean, he's
been working at Golden Gate all winter. All Greg's horses look really good right now. I've been working at Golden Gate, so I got him in the third spot with Pedro aboard.
I did not get a good feel for this race at all. I mean, I wish I had a solid horse to tell you about in this race, but I don't. You got 7 horses in here that really all want the lead. There's not even really a horse that wants to come from out of it. And so anytime you see these kind of races, the gate will likely determine who will win the race, who gets away from there well and gets into position, because there's really no, a lot of them, if they got the lead or got the right trip, they would win. And it's just, I have a tough time separating these fillies. Or Colts, pardon me. But I went to the 6. I'm with you, Sir Hayden. Maybe this one can adapt. Good work, Tab. Excellent connections. That was enough for me to take Sir Hayden. I put the 2 Lucky Moly Minor in there because this horse might be the one that might be able to alter the running style and maybe try and come from off the pace.
Yeah, exactly.
Didn't go wire to wire in his maiden win, which earned him a start in the Ascot graduation. He was out wide, and he was in there for about 7 furlongs before fading in the stretch. But he's come back to work well. Long string of works, bunch of 5s and 6 furlong workouts. He looks ready to go. He might be the price play in the 7th race. But I went 6-2, and I put Veni Vidi Vici in for third. Lots of speed. Good 6.5 furlong work and 123-1, which may signal he can carry his speed around 2 turns, but we'll have to see. But just a race I didn't fall in love with. If you're playing a pick 4 or pick 3, pick 5,
you might want to go a little deep in here. Go a little deep here.
Go to your friend, Mr. All.
Exactly. You never get beat by the all button.
No one's ever gotten beat by the all button. I'm going to go 6, 2, and 4 in the 7th. In the 8th and final event, we have some $5,000 claimers going 6 furlongs, exactors, tries, superfectas, all the goodies in the last race. I went the 7-horse Peace Bear. I think this horse will run well fresh. He was a maiden running against winners. He's always had some tough, he's always been ambitiously placed like he was going to be a good horse.
Yeah, I think he was cut out to be a good horse.
And he's run some big races, but not really been able to get on a roll. This year he starts at the bottom, sports an excellent work tab. He's got some speed. I think he can sit just off of maybe the 2-horse Elasting Peace, who's pretty quick. And he might be tough from there. So I went to the 7, Peace Bear. I put the 3 vying for victory. That's a winter campaigned runner, in for second. And I put the 5 Huffman, who has some back class, in for third.
He certainly does.
Not a strong, these aren't the most trusting runners, the ones you can really bank on. But I'm going to try 7 over the 3 and 5.
I agree with you. I really like Peace Bear, but I went with the 6, Sufi Dancer. Another one that's been running at Turf Paradise. We saw last week, even the horse that didn't have great form, like our Dubai Girl, coming from Phoenix, had a big edge. So I got Sufi Dancer on top with Peace Bear, who's been working good. Like I say, I think he was cut out to be a really good horse. I got him in the second spot, and I went with Modest Dancer, another horse, again, who's been running all winter. Gets Hamill aboard. Hamill knows the horse well. Was riding it here last year. We had a couple wins on him, I should say. So I went with 6-7-1.
Yeah, this might be one of the last weeks where we can kind of use the winter race thing, because now you're getting almost to the 1st of May. Some of the horses that have been training here at Hastings will have caught up. They've got more work.
They get that race under their belt, and it makes a big difference.
Working, it's tough April 14th to be ready in this neck of the woods when you start training February 1st, like the masses did. Like some some can train at Pegasus, some can train out at Canmore. There are some fortunate ones that can get horses in training in January up here. But I think once you hit May, then perhaps everyone's caught up and it's kind of an equal playing
Exactly.
field.
Exactly. Once they get that first race on the belt, then it changes dynamically after that.
Well, there are our selections. Actually, coming up next on screen will be both of our selections. We'll make a quick run through of our picks for the Saturday, April 21st card. And we'll start off with...
Are we going with my picks first?
Let's go with your picks. Here we go.
There we are. First race, I got Keist Adorable on top with the 1-5. Second race, I went with number 3, Congrats Man. Third race, I went with number 6, Avulsion, with the 4-2. Fourth race, I got number 5, Smarty Fawcett on top of the 7-3. Fifth race, I got number 1, Valentine's Wish on top of the 6-9. Sixth race, I got number 10, Prince Intent on top of the 3. I had the 9 in third. Now I go to the 7 because the 9 is a scratch. The 7th race, I have Sir Hayden on top of the 5, number 6, Sir Hayden on top of the 5-7. And in the 8th race, I have number 6, Sufi Dancer on top of the 7-1.
Now over to my selections for the Saturday program. I agreed with Drew. I went with the 4, Keist Adorable, with the 5-1 in behind. Then I went 5, 3, and 4. That's Brass and Gold on top. In race number 3, I went 5, 2, and 6. That is Seminole Brave in the 5 slot. In the 4th race, I went 5, 4, 3. That's Smarty Fawcett, the 5 horse. Got quite a few 5s today. Hopefully the green is the color of the day. Color of money. Then in the 5th race, I went 4, 1, 5. The 4 horses Nicotiana. In the 6th race, I went with the 10, Prince Intent. Behind will be the 3 and 6. The 7th race, I went to number 6, Sir Hayden. Followed up by the 2 and 4. And in the 8th, number 7, Peace Bear with the 3 and 5. Well, that concludes our Saturday selections. Each week we'll be doing an interview with either jockeys, riders, or industry participants. And I was very fortunate to catch up with Doug Scott, the chairman of the BC Horse Racing Industry Management Committee. And here's a look at that interview that we did earlier this week.
Dozens and dozens of companies around the, or not companies, pardon me, industries around the world that we looked at, and I think that will actually help me with this committee, because that's what we're talking about. We're not talking about a specific business, because there's many different pieces to the horse racing industry. We're talking about the industry as a whole, which is much more complex. So I hope to bring that to the committee as we work through and determine where we're going with horse racing industry. Well,
212 is off to a great start for horse racing in the province, and but we still face some challenges. Maybe you want to touch on them.
Sure. There are a number of challenges, but I think your point is a good one. The start this year has been great. I think that part of the credit, definitely not all by any means, but part of the credit goes to the committee before I joined, when they determined what the allocations should be for the funding and things, which are the hard questions to answer, and then they worked hard on the marketing, and they continue to do so. I think that marketing is showing in the responses. In terms of the challenges going forward, there are many. I think there's a certain amount of angst in the industry, and no doubt. But it's important to me that people know that the committee is not here to preside over the deterioration or the end of horse racing in BC. We are here to make it vibrant going forward, and so now we're turning the next page. We've stabilized things, I think, in my view. Now we're looking forward to say, what should the industry look like in 5 to 7 years, and we're going to lay that out in very clear detail, and then we're going to execute it going forward. So
many of our viewers and horsemen are not short on being able to identify the problems in both of our industries, but identifying solutions is a lot trickier, and perhaps at the committee level, if you can tell us what possible solutions to all of these many problems that we have are on the go.
Sure. The bottom line is I can't tell you what the solution's going to be, because we're going to get there in about 4 months.
Yeah.
What I can tell you is that we've got a broad group of people on the committee, as you well know. We've got representatives from Standardbred, Thoroughbred, BCLC, Great Canadian. So we've got all the right people around the table. What we need to do, because as you mentioned, many people in industries know what the problems are, and many people have their various perspectives, whether it's as a breeder or owner. Even the bettors will have their idea what the industry needs to do. There's many,
complex
a lot of moving
industry.
parts, as they say, right? So there's a lot of moving parts. So our role as a committee is to get all those pieces to the puzzle that each person has in the industry, bring it together and figure out what the solution is. So in order to do that, we're going to have extensive consultation in the next month, and we're essentially going to sequester the committee, and we're going to get down to business with all the information, including our competitive position in respect of other horse racing jurisdictions, be it down south in Washington State, or sideways to Alberta. And we're going to consider all those things, and we're going to come up with the model that we're going to drive forward for. Like I said, we want to know what this industry is going to look like 5 to 7 years out, and then get to the business of executing that. Well,
it's great to know that the industry is in excellent hands, and thanks for joining us here on Handicappers Corner, Doug, and continued success.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Mike.
Works look fine, you know the jockeys brothers are a friend of mine. And just a minute, boys, I got the feed box.